long before today, you've been considered a rights president. Under your watch, people have said that you have expanded the rubber band of inclusion, and with the election and the incoming administration, people are saying that rubber band has recoiled and maybe is even broken. And I'm taking back to a time on Air Force One going to Selma, Alabama, when you said your job was to close the gaps that remain. With that, what gaps still remain when it comes to rights issues on the table? And also, what part will you play in fixing those gaps after, in your new life? And lastly, you are the first Black president. Do you expect this country to see this again?
Well, I'll answer the last question first. I think we're going to see people of merit rise up from every race, faith, corner of this country, because that's America's strength. When we have everybody getting a chance and everybody's on the field, we end up being better. I think I've used this analogy before. We killed it in the Olympics in Brazil. And you know, Michelle and I, we always have the Olympic team here. And it's a lot of fun, first of all, just because, you know, anytime you're meeting somebody who's the best, I use that as a metaphor. And if, in fact, we continue to keep opportunity open to everybody, then yeah, we're going to have a woman president, we're going to have a Latino president, we'll have a Jewish president, a Hindu president. You know, who knows who we're going to have? I suspect we'll have a whole bunch of mixed up presidents at some point that nobody really knows what to call them. And that's fine. Now, what do I worry about? I obviously spent a lot of time on this, April, at my farewell address on Tuesday, so I won't go through the whole list. I worry about inequality because I think that if we are not investing in making sure everybody plays a role in this economy, the economy will not grow as fast, and I think it will also lead to further and further separation between us as Americans. And last week, because that's oftentimes when racial divisions get magnified, because people harder to vote rather than easier. And that dates back. There's an ugly history to that. That's not who we are. That shouldn't be who we are. That's not when America works best. So the idea that we put in place a whole bunch of barriers to people voting doesn't make sense. And then that our criminal justice system is fair and just, but I also think it's also very important to make sure that it is not politicized, that it maintains an integrity that is outside of partisan politics. It is not. It is simply not true that things have gotten worse. They haven't. Things are getting better, and I have more confidence on racial issues in the next generation than I do in our generation or the previous generation. Information that encourages some of our worst instincts. We tend to fall back into some of the old racial fears and racial divisions and racial stereotypes, battles. We've got this stew that's bubbling up with people from everywhere within a 20-mile radius. Or how does it feel being born in some rural county where, you know, I've been knowing her since Springfield, Illinois. When I was a state senator, she listened to what I had to say. So the least I can do is give her the last question as President of the United States. Go ahead. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It has been an honor.
Thank you.
And I have a personal question for you because I know how much you like this. The First Lady put the stakes of the 2016 election in very personal terms in a speech that resonated across the country. And she really spoke the concerns of a lot of women, LGBT folks, people of color, many others. And so I wonder now how you and the First Lady are talking to your daughters about the meaning of this election. And
surprise and enchant and impressed. They paid attention to what their mom said during the campaign and believed it because it's consistent with what we've tried to teach them in our household. What I've tried to model as a father with get up, brush yourself off, and you get back to work. And that tended to be their attitude. To see that it's flawed, but see that they have responsibilities to fix it. And that they need to be active citizens. And what I really am proud of them, what makes me proudest about them is that they also don't get cynical about it. They have not assumed because their side didn't win or because some of the values that they care about don't seem as if they were vindicated, that automatically America has somehow rejected them or rejected their values. Or I don't think they feel that way. There's a core decency to this country, and that they got to be a part of lifting that up. Believe in the American people. I believe that people are more good than bad. I couldn't be prouder of them. And so this is not just a matter of no drama Obama. This is what I really believe. It is true that behind closed doors I curse more than I do publicly. And sometimes I get mad and frustrated like everybody else does. But at my core, I think we're going to be okay. We just had...
Now, who is there in the briefing room. Kristen, as I heard and listened to the president being reflective about his legacy, about the change that's going to come, I have to ask about the mood, his mood and the mood you're feeling there in the White House in the last 2 days of this administration.
It's striking, Lester. It was somewhat somber, I would say. This president very reflective about his legacy, defending some of the tough decisions that he's made in recent